Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow bookers. Nigel, excellent book. Stay there. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Mo's here. Winnie's here. Yes, I know, you're both gorgeous. This is what people come see, not me. They're very clingy today. What we're talking about? We're talking about a reading challenge, ongoing, Edgar Rice Burroughs, the deputy sheriff of Commanche County. What did you think to it? Yes, I know. Get down there. Sit there. Sit there. You can look out the window. So, the deputy sheriff of Commanche County with a Boris cover. And that's a scene from the end of the book. I know, mate, I know. Come on, don't start. Come on, don't start. And that's a scene from the end of the book. And this is just my thoughts on a very rarely reviewed that I can find Edgar Rice Burroughs book. Let me just put that. Yeah, I know, gorgeous. All right, I don't need licking. Look out window at them horrible little school kids. Look out the window. That's it. See if you can see any climbing on fence. Sit that way. She's got to sit with me because Winnie had an operation. She had some lumps took off her side, so she's sticking like glue. She hates my missus because she did the operation, so I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Obvious, obs. But anyway, this one don't want to be left out. So back to the books. It was first published as The Terrible Tenderfoot, a 3-part pulp series in Thrilling Adventures magazine in 1939/1940, and it later got published as a book in the latter end of 1940. Now this is a quite a odd, I thought, odd book because it's a Western and it is. It's also a thriller, like a murder mystery, like an Agatha Christie, if you like. It's got he must have been reading Agatha Christie and thought, I can do that. So there are some very similar plot themes throughout the whole book, but obviously, yeah, all right, mate. Some not plot similar themes, but the way that the plot's carried out and threaded, there are some staples to the old-fashioned Agatha Christie and Poirot thrillers that, and I haven't read many Agatha Christies, but they all follow a set theme. And this one reminded me a lot of them really old-fashioned, not thrillers, but murder mystery kind of books. I'll get back to my notes. So as we all know, he was actually in the army, the cavalry. He was a cowboy in Idaho and Arizona, and he draws on, I was squishing you, he must draw on them things that he remembered to write this book. What is it about? It's about a young fella called Buck Mason, and his father dies, he inherits the ranch, and he's, for 20 years, a neighbouring ranch has fenced off some land. So this young fella goes over to Gunnison, what's he called? Old Gunderstorm, and he wants that land back. But, and this isn't spoilers, it's in the first 2 chapters, what you can read on the back of the book. And in fact, we will read the back of the book. Who killed Old Gunderstorm? Old Gunderstorm. The evidence seems to point to Buck Mason, and when Buck went into hiding soon after, there was no doubt in anybody's mind, but Buck knew he was innocent. Now he was going to have to prove it. So this young fella, my lad, Buck Mason, he's the deputy sheriff of Commanche County. And old Gunderstorm gets killed, and he goes out the day after he's been there to confront him about the land crisis, and he sees Gunderstorm shot in the forehead, dead, in bed. But there's some clues. Book, that section is only 2 chapters, 3 at the most. And we all know Edgar, he don't write massive chapters. It keeps plot going, rolling all the way through. Until we find that there's a TL ranch, which is a ranch on the outskirts of Buck Mason's and Old Gunderstorm's ranch, that is a failing ranch. It's up for sale. The banks have took possession of it and it's failing. So they've put a cowboy in to get money while they're trying to flog it, the banks. On this here farm, ranch, from the East Coast come rich, affluent people, and they pay a right dollop of money to get the cowboy lifestyle. They do, mate. They get the cowboy lifestyle good and proper, don't they? And whilst they're there, this young fella, my lad, turns up, who all these really gnarly, badass cowboys call a tenderfoot. Give off it. And his name is Bruce Marvel. Now, like all Edgar Rice Burroughs books, there's a young, beautiful, fiery blonde that said Bruce Marvel's gonna fall in love with. I mean, to the not very astute reader, it's pretty obvious who this young fella is and why he's there. And it's just the escapades of him gathering evidence to prove a murder and to prove Buck Mason's innocence. They go on a lion hunt, mountain lions, so they're them like pumas, I would assume, on a dog trail, they go on a like a ranch roundup thing, and it's all various overnight stops with this group of affluent Easterners, and it's how they all interact. There's the villain, who is also in love with a blonde, fiery blonde, as well as the young bloke. There's a kidnap in it. There's shootouts. It's a classic Western with a twist. I think it's a good Western in its own right, yeah. Don't you jump down with them stitches. So, it's a good story in its own right. Come on, you can get down now. You can get down. She's down. You can get down. Go sit in shade. Pair of you. And it does the story all right. It's a good cowboy, and it's an average whodunit with a twist. It's got a modern element in it. There's cars, automobiles, there's a phone. Don't you be picking her. Don't you be picking on her. Come on. Oh, folks. Leave her alone, Mo. She don't want messing. Good girl. That's it. It's a good, fast-paced novella. As I've said, a bit of an odd read. Not my favourite Edgar Rice Burroughs to date, but it's still good. You know, it's still a good book. And at the end, it's laid out classic on the veranda of the ranch of how and who done it and why, which was good. The other thing that I've on researching it is in Rocky 2 when Adrian's in hospital. This is the book that Rocky is reading to her. So, if it's good enough for Rocky, it's good enough for me. We've got a few clips here. So, he goes on, this young lad is talking to this beautiful blonde about life and life experiences, and he says, a fella starts wrong and then he never gets the right break. Pretty, you know, pretty much how it is, isn't it? Once you've started on the wrong path, it's very, very hard to get off it. And there's another one. He's talking about friends, and he says, we have all had similar experiences with chance acquaintances who were but additional names in chaotic files of memory until some accident, perhaps trivial, precipitated them into the current of our lives, never to be entirely lost sight of or forgotten again, or perhaps influence or direct our course through rough or tranquil waters. So you generally get these little snippets of gems, I find, from Edgar. And you know, he's quite right. You meet various people throughout your life who they might have an influence a lot of the time, and then you'll not see them for ages or years. But they will always have that key point in your life that'll direct the course of your life. And that's how I read that little brief paragraph there. And it did actually hit quite home about how you can meet somebody and they have quite a big impact in your life, but at the time you don't know it. It's only with hindsight, looking back, they've changed which path of the tranquil or rough waters you took. Listen at me. And then there's another bit. Our hero has just shot this absolute scumbag, shot him. There's another one who we gave the option. He says, I'll either shoot you or you can sit down on that rock and let me tie your hands up. So this other lad's a bit slow in the head, but he's obviously not that slow. So he lets him tie him up. And he's just as he ceased speaking, he drew a large pocket knife from his overalls and opened one of the blades. Then he drew one of his 44s, the wooden grip of which bore many notches, the edges of which were rounded and smooth and polished by the use of many years. As Eddie watched him, fascinated, Marvel cut 2 new notches below the older ones. "Them's Brum and Mart?" asked the prisoner. Marvel nodded. "And there's room for some more yet, Eddie," he said. "You make 'em all?" He asked Eddie. "No," replied Marvel. "These guns were my father's. He must have been a bad man from way back," commented Eddie in a frank admiration. "He weren't nothing of the kind," replied Bruce. "He was a sheriff." I thought that was great. It just shows the two aspects of it. This killer, cattle rustler, kidnapper, low down weasel piss bloke just assumes that all the notches on this old 44 come from him shooting. He's a bad sort and he admires it. And the other one says, no, he was a sheriff. So all them notches got rid of the scumbags, which I thought was one of the brilliant paragraphs in the book. And you get them in all of Edgar's books. Although they're fast-paced and rolling and you want to read them fast because it's moving along, you could very easily miss them. And that is why I think he's so relevant and he's had such a massive impact, Edgar Rice Burroughs, on science fiction, westerns, well, maybe not so much westerns, but fantasy in general, movies, and everything. You can tell I'm a fanboy, and that is it. How long we got? 20 minutes of me waffling And I think that's quite enough for now. I will see you partners on the next one. Keep gorgeous. Keep reading. Like, subscribe, comment as well, and share. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I am saying it quite a lot because I am getting quite a few new subscribers. Thank you to you all. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you to my old subscribers for sticking with me. In the conservatory, and we're not on the range today. But I'll see you folks in the next one. Ta-da.